And now, for the faithfuls, this is a native Android screen reader segment, simply referred to as Talkback Highlights. This is where some new feature or new happening with Talkback is featured. And now, here's your newest Talkback highlight. We now move to the Talkback highlight, and this week John demonstrates how you can go about reassigning some of your Braille gestures on the virtual Talkback Braille keyboard. Here's John now to show you how to go about doing the customization of your Braille keyboard gestures.
Hello and welcome to Talkback Highlights. Today I'll be showing you a new feature that was introduced in Talkback 16.1. And this is the ability to customize gestures in the Braille keyboard. Now, I'll start by saying there's no new functionality in the keyboard, the on-screen Braille keyboard. So you will still be limited to all of the same actions you could have performed before. But if you did not like the gestures or had difficulty performing specific gestures, you can now assign any of those actions to pretty much anything you want. I won't explain the math, and I could be wrong. I've calculated that there are 175 different gesture combinations you can now do. And that's because you're going to combine holding specific dots with specific swipes, and you'll be able to hold any single dot or hold any two dots on the same side, or hold all three dots on either side, and then perform a swipe with the other hand. And that swipe can be a 1, 2, or 3 finger swipe in any of the 4 directions. And then on top of that, there's a few of the regular swipes without holding any keys that you can customize as well. So I will show you how to change these and demonstrate what the process is like. Bringing up the Talkback menu.
Talkback menu. Spoken language. Audio ducking on. Talkback settings.
Going into Talkback settings.
Talkback settings. Navigate up.
And now navigating by heading.
Audio. Controls. Braille.
Under the Braille heading,
Braille keyboard.
we have Braille keyboard.
Braille keyboard. Navigate up.
And swiping.
How to use Braille keyboard.
Again.
Gestures.
Here's where you can go to look at the gestures, and now you can customize them.
Braille keyboard gestures. Navigate up.
So going to start swiping.
Basic controls. Add spaces, delete, hide the keyboard, and more.
So you can even customize these basic controls if you want.
Cursor movement. Move by character, word, or line.
Basically anything in any of these sections you can change to a different gesture if you want to.
Text selection and editing. Select copy, cut, paste.
So I'll use this as an example because these are gestures that are kind of difficult in certain situations, especially when you need to swipe up or down with 3 fingers. So I'm going to change some of these gestures.
Text selection and editing. Navigate up. Character.
Going by headings.
Word. Editing.
I'm going to go to the editing heading because this is what I was talking about.
Select all. Hold dot 1 or dot 4, then swipe left anywhere with 3 fingers.
So these are all hold dot 1 or dot 4, and then you have to swipe with 3 fingers in any direction to do the action. So I'm going to change it to, because it's easier to hold 3 fingers and just swipe 1 finger, that's what I'm going to change it to. Going to double tap here.
Select all. Current gesture. Hold dot 1 or dot 4, then swipe left anywhere with 3 fingers.
So I'm going to want to change this to hold 3 dots and swipe left with only one finger.
Change gesture.
And the first option we have here is to change gesture. I'll show you the others.
Reset to default.
You can reset it to default
Remove gesture.
or remove it.
Cancel.
So I'm going to go back to reassign the gesture.
Remove gesture. Reset to default. Change gesture.
Double tapping here.
Showing Braille keyboard. Screen away mode. Perform the gesture you want to use for select all. To cancel, swipe down with 2 fingers. Text selection and editing.
So I'm going to hold dots 4, 5, 6 and swipe left with one finger.
Hold dots 4, 5, 6, then swipe left anywhere with another finger. To confirm, perform this gesture again.
As you heard, it tells you what you did and asks you to do it again.
Gesture is changed. Do you also want to use that select all action with the mirrored gesture? Hold dots 1, 2, 3, then swipe left anywhere with another finger.
And as you heard there, it asked if I want to also change the reverse gesture, and I will.
Use mirrored gesture. Mirrored gesture changed. Text selection and editing. Select all. Hold dots 1, 2, 3 or dots 4, 5, 6, then swipe left anywhere with another finger.
So you have the option to set it to both, or if you wanted holding dots 1, 2, and 3 and swiping left with one finger to do a different action, you could assign it to a different action. I will not continue on changing these, at least not in the recording. I might actually change them for myself, but I'm going to back out of here.
Braille keyboard gestures. Text selection and editing. Select copy, cut, paste.
And show you that at the bottom of this page,
Reset all gestures.
there's a button where you can just easily reset everything.
Reset all gestures. All Braille keyboard gestures will be reset to default.
So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Reset. All gestures have been reset. Braille keyboard gestures. Reset all gestures.
So if you forget what you've assigned a gesture to, or if you've broken a gesture because you reassigned it, that's an easy way to get it back to its default state without having to clear all of the Talkback settings by clearing the Android Accessibility Suite data. Another thing I want to mention quickly is that if you customize a proofreading gesture, it will also customize the standard gesture. Just as one example, swiping right with 2 fingers, if you're in proofreading mode, will replace the word. But if you're not in proofreading mode, it will just hit enter, like insert a line break. So customizing one gesture will also customize the other gesture. So if you were hoping to be able to customize individual gestures for proofreading so that you don't actually have to change the reading control to proofread, then you're not going to be able to do that. That's something I tried to do, and like I mentioned, there are customizable, but changing one will change the other as well. So I do think this is a good addition. I wish there were more things you could do with the Braille keyboard. Like, for example, you can only select by characters or words. I wish you could select by lines or paragraphs, or even assign a gesture to navigate by paragraphs. And there are a few other things I would like, but if they give us more functionality in the future, we will have an assortment of gestures that we can assign those actions to. But currently, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's nothing new that you can do here, but you can customize it to work better for you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, John. I know you really love if there's anyone that really likes their virtual keyboard, John, you are one of those guys. I suck at it. I'm not ashamed to say it. I kind of prefer the table mode feature, John, but I know you do the hold away screen, and I just can't do it. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, the first thing you need is a case to do it, because I can't do it without a case, because my palms touch the edges of the screen and it just it won't. It thinks I'm pressing things I'm not. But as long as I have a decent sized case on it, it's nice. I use it a lot. I got used to it. I actually got so used to the gestures that I tried to customize these gestures to what I thought would be better, and I keep forgetting to use the new gestures. I keep trying to use the old gestures, so it's gonna take me a while to get used to my new setup.
Yeah. Now, there was a guy, a friend of mine, that was asking me, and maybe because I don't use it, seldom do, is there a way that it would let one know when you touch a dot? Because I think his problem was that when he puts down his fingers, he's not hearing maybe dot one or dot two or something to that effect, and so it's kind of like for him, it's like a guesswork. Is there a setting, John, that one could say, when I touch a
No.
dot, let me know what dot I'm touching?
No, you can't. It will tell you when you release,
Yeah, so
but
see, that's not good
it won't
enough.
tell you when you touch. No.
Yeah, so I think they need to fix that to where because if I don't release,
Don't
it's
give
not
them
going
any
to
ideas,
activate
Warren. I don't want them changing things. They can add a setting that we can opt into, but do not
Yeah, no,
change how
no, no,
my
no,
default behavior. I will
no,
come there.
no.
I will come to California and
You'll cut
do
my head
something.
off. Yeah, but frankly, I think it will make sense to have a toggle for people that are just getting started to know what dots they're touching, because it's not gonna write
I'll,
that dot unless you let your finger go.
you know what though, Warren? I'll tell you why I don't think it will work is because it doesn't know what dot it is until you've put all your fingers on. Because, like, for example, well, it's hard to explain, but like if you have three fingers on the same side and you're not hitting exactly in the right positions, it will still know you're pressing all three of those dots on that side because you've touched with three fingers, so you don't have to get it exactly right. So it really it decides what dots you've pressed after it sees where all of your touch points are when you release. So I mean, maybe if they implemented something like this, they'd have to make it more permanent. Where you touch would have to be exactly right, but I guess it would be possible.
No, I don't think it has to be exact touch, because if in its current state, if you put down your three fingers, even if you are not directly on the dots, it knows the positioning of the finger and to what they correspond with. The same thing should be if my ring finger is touching an area, it should know that, yeah, I meant this for either dot three or whatever. But, frankly,
Yeah,
I
but
think it would
it
be
goes
more
by.
helpful for people who are just getting started, just like the keyboard that we are typing on a virtual QWERTY keyboard. When I touch a key, it tells me what it is, right? So I
Yeah,
think it makes
but you
sense.
have to get those exactly right. The point I'm making is, like, let's say you put your three fingers down, you put your index on dot one, you put your um
Middle finger.
your
Yeah.
ring finger on dot two, and you put your middle finger between them. So your middle finger so you've actually missed dot three. You put two fingers on dot one and dot two, but you put a finger between them. Then when you release, the keyboard automatically knows you meant to hit all three dots, so it will type the letter L. So you don't have to get it exactly right. So that's it. It decides what you've pressed when you release.
Yeah, it makes sense. But, so one of my friends who wanted to use the Braille keyboard, that's his frustration because he's not knowing what dots he's touching. He wants to be able to know before he releases. So, but yeah, anyway, even if something were to be implemented like that, like I said, it has to be a toggle, because someone who kind of understands how it works, for example, like you do, John, would find it very, very disruptive if every time you touch a dot, it tells
Yeah,
you what dot
right.
you're touching. So
Yeah, as long as you can
definitely,
turn it on, do
as
whatever
long
you
as
want. As long as you can turn it on and off.
that's right.
Even if they change the default, like I don't even. It's fine with me even if they change the default behavior. Just let me turn it off at least. Like give me an option to go in there and say I don't want dots announced.
Okay, I'm not a Braille user. I just used the keyboard maybe when they introduced it, just to test it. So, but shouldn't you put your fingers at the same time and release them at the same time? So how could such feature work?
Yeah, exactly. It would. You'd have to do one finger at a time, or you'd have to wait for it to announce all the dots. I guess it could technically announce all the dots if you were going to sit there and wait for it to. But the thing is, by the time you've already put all your fingers down and you've heard the dots announced, like if you decide it's wrong, what are you going to do? You have to lift up your fingers, and
Release
the
the
character's going to
fingers.
be input no matter what. So
Exactly.
I mean, if there was a training mode, that would be cool, where it could just announce, similar to the gesture practice you can do. Like maybe if you just wanted to get used to, like, I mean, you can calibrate it to wherever you want, but if you wanted to test it after that, that might be a situation where you would want it to hear the dots, just if you're like practicing where you need to touch after you've calibrated it. But yeah, I don't really see it being that helpful.
But don't they have something like practice mode or something? I remember that
Well,
there
it
was
does
something
have,
similar.
when you are setting it up, it does have the feature where it will say, okay, type .1. So see, that person, I can see where he's coming from. So you put your finger down to hit that .1. So how do you know where .1 is? And then it tells you do dots 1 and 2. You put your fingers down on. So if you know where .1 is by the time you touch it and it says .1, then you know that next to that, or if it's on the left that you heard .1, or if it's on the right that you heard .1, then you know that to the right of that is .2, or to the left of that is .2. So it does have that, when you're going through. I think maybe if my friend could just practice that a little bit more, it would make more sense to him.